Welcome to Veterans AZ, conversations that celebrate Arizona's veterans and offer insight into their accomplishments and into the programs and organizations that serve them. This episode is a conversation with Shawn and Michelle Loposky, two of the leaders at the Pat Tillman Veterans Center at Arizona State University. Join us as we explore the connection, community, and support the center provides to college veterans and their families. Thanks so much for joining us today as we explore the important topic of higher education for our veterans and service members. First, I'd like to start by asking you about your backgrounds. How did you end up at the ASU Pat Tillman Veterans Center? We'll start with you, Shawn.
Oh, great. Well, I started out actually as a volunteer. So I think part of the importance here is that to know that I'm a veteran. I served 21 years in the Army National Guard, and I'm a combat veteran, Iraq 06-07. I came to the Pat Tillman Veterans Center actually to volunteer as a chaplain. So I was working as a pastor in the local community. Came into the center and I asked the then director, Steve Borden, hey, do you need a chaplain? Because I'd really like to connect back into my community. And he said, actually, we do. So I volunteered for about a year and a half. And all that time, I didn't know it, but Michelle said that it was my job interview. So when a position came open, I applied, then they hired me, and now I've been there since 2016.
And were you an Arizona native or someone who lived in Arizona prior?
Actually, no. I came from Nebraska, moved here in 2014. My wife got a job at ASU right away in 2015, and then I showed up. So that's kind of how it happened. Yeah.
And what about your story, Michelle?
Thanks, Kelly. So I started at the Pat Tillman Veterans Center in 2015. I also served in the Army. I served 4 years as a combat medic. I moved here from Jersey. So I actually lived here twice. Back in early 2000, went to Jersey, came back. So something about this weather. I started off as an assistant military advocate. And so really being part of the Pat Tillman Veterans Center now for the last 8 years has been quite the journey. It's probably the best decisions that I ever made besides joining the military. It was a very long journey to get to where I am today, but yeah, that's really my journey in a nutshell.
So really part of it is helping your fellow veterans find their way on a college campus. But first of all, I'd like to talk a little bit about the education benefit that is available to many of our military veterans. Can you, from your perspective, tell us about the importance of an education benefit to our all-volunteer military?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when I first got in the military, they only had the Montgomery GI Bill. It didn't pay very much, to be honest with you. It was hard to even go to college back in the early 90s on the percentage of money and tuition that the military paid. But then 9/11 happened, and the post 9/11 GI Bill really changed the ball game as far as I'm concerned when it comes to what is your education benefit. And a lot of people don't know the post 9/11 or Chapter 33 benefit pays for in-state tuition fully, plus fees, plus a housing allowance every month. You really, I mean, you get 36 months of that. And if you really work hard, most of the time you're gonna come out of there with a master's degree if you think about how can I use my benefits to my benefit, if you will. So the post 9/11 really changed the ball game as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I'm pre 9/11, so I'd use the Montgomery Bill. I started off at a community college and then transferred to the University of Miami, which was still very expensive since it's a private university. But being a recipient of the Montgomery GI Bill, it really wasn't a lot in comparison to what students have today. And along with the GI Bill benefits that the students are using, the amount of other benefits that's available to our student veterans, not just with the VA, but at ASU, we really try to package so then the students know that, look, thank you for your service. Now let us support you in servicing yourself and getting that degree.
So can you talk more about that full range of services that the Pat Tillman Veterans Center provides?
Well, it's a very holistic approach. You know, it's from being very proactive and purposeful in what we're trying to do. We are veterans ourselves, so we know what it's been like, that story, that narrative. And so we try to think outside the box and really try to make sure that we are making the biggest impact by making sure we're not overgeneralizing things, that we can customize and personalize whatever that journey is for that particular student, because they all come from different backgrounds and different stories. And so from professional development to educational achievement to just support, just being there, right, Shawn?
Well, I think it's important to realize that just because they're a veteran doesn't mean they can't tap into all the resources at ASU. In fact, so they get the GI Bill, but then they get all of the same thing a traditional student would get. Counseling services there for them, the Dean of Students is there for them, the accessibility office is there for them, the health care is there for them. Sometimes the VA can be overwhelmed with the amount of everything that comes in. ASU is really there to kind of step in and help our student veterans. So Michelle said it was holistic, and I really think that that's the case as well. Yeah.
Approximately how many student veterans are on the ASU campus?
Well, we use a term called military connected learner. So this involves a total of our active duty, so they're serving active duty in either one of the branches, and also our National Guard reserves, but then our dependents. A lot of people don't know that, a lot of veterans, they transfer their GI Bill benefits to their kids or to their spouse. So military connected learner, all of those included, about, you said approximately 15,742 this semester. It's probably one of the largest in the nation, which equates to about 10% of the total population at ASU currently.
But over 70% of those students are online. So they're attending ASU globally. So it's also a focus for us to make sure that our online students feel they're connected to us. In so many ways, we try to find affinity in making sure that they know that we're also there for them, even though we don't get to see them in person.
Yeah.
So what does that service look like for a military connected learner? How do they get connected with the Pat Tillman Center?
So one of the great programs at ASU through Ed Plus is the student success coaches. So there is a team that's basically there for them, 24/7 really, when you think about it. They're not advisors, they're more like life coaches. So every one of our student veteran military connected students who are online, they get a success coach throughout their entire time. In fact, all online students at ASU get a success coach. And I can tell you real quick, my sister received her master's from ASU's Fulton School. And so she was an online student, and she had her success coach the entire time she was there. And when she came here for her graduation, she looked for her success coach. She felt like she couldn't do it without him, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm also a graduate from ASU Online, so going to school and working full-time for ASU, having that success coach checking in with you from here and there. So, that connects them, obviously, to ASU in the bigger picture, but then we have a team, right? So the Pat Tillman Veterans Center, we have two kind of branches of our team, the school certifying officials, which makes up the most of our team, processing those benefits with the VA. But then we have another side of our team called the Student Success and Advocacy Team, and they work with the students all over the globe to help them make sure that they're connected to the culture at the Pat Tillman Veterans Center, that they're a part of all the things that we can take virtually. We make sure that our online students get that too. Really proud of our team for sure.
What would you say to a veteran who's not sure about embarking on this college journey, even if they have the benefit?
Yeah, well, there's a good chance you're not ready, honestly, and that's okay too. We like to call ourselves pretty agnostic when it comes to each veteran. When you've met one veteran, you've met exactly one veteran. We're not a monolith. So if you're not ready for college, we totally get that. Maybe you're not ready for the university. Maybe you're ready for community college. Let's move you in that direction and use one of the My Pathways into ASU out of the Maricopa schools, right? So really Michelle said it was, each individual case is important to us. So if you're not ready, that's okay. Use it when you're ready, because you don't want to waste that benefit. And we want to make sure that you are ready. So yeah, that's how we feel about it, really.
And what do you think the biggest hurdles are for someone who's transitioning from military service and now getting ready to take that next step in their lives at a university?
I'm sure it's a laundry list. There can't really just be one, right? And so really the one thing that we've noticed for our students is that transitioning and losing that camaraderie piece that you had in the military, having that team support, and feeling that, oh boy, I got to do this on my own now. How do I do that when I'm so used to taking orders? Now I'm taking ownership of what I'm doing here. But that's just one piece.
I think one of the biggest things, and we talk about this a lot, we have a program called Treks for Vets. We work in partnership with the Office of Veteran Military Academic Engagement. It's this partnership where we take veterans in the wilderness for about 4 days, twice a year, to help them walk through maybe some of the struggles they had. It could be post-traumatic stress disorder, it could be anxiety. There's a lot of things that hit each and every one of us. But what we've found, and I continue to find, is that when you're in the military, you find your value in your team. And you're, I wouldn't say brainwashed to believe that, but I think there's an important way we win war. It's that I depend on Michelle, and Michelle depends on me, and we depend on you, Kelly, to get through. When you unplug from that, you start to kind of struggle with how much do you value yourself. And so we see this as a struggle for our student veterans, and we're continually trying to add value back into their life.
Value and purpose. When you're in the military, there's missions, there's a purpose why you're there. And so getting out and going to school, and it's foreign. A lot of our students have never been to college. I'm a first gen. And so entering into that campus, it's like, wow, it's like I'm a foreigner here and I don't know how to articulate this language. So that transition is important to let them know that your value and your purpose is now this, and helping really translate that for them. That's part of our work. We help our veterans learn the language that they're not accustomed to or have never heard before, which is higher education.
And so is there a social connection component to the Pat Tillman Veterans Center?
Absolutely. So I make 3 promises as the executive director. One is our commitment to customer service excellence. We want to make sure that your GI Bill benefits are processed in a timely manner. We understand that stress. Rent is pretty high, and if I don't get my GI Bill in time, then my landlord's going to say, hey, where's the cash, right? So the second one is what you were talking about. It's our commitment to community, building community and opportunities for our military-connected learners to come together like they were in the military, and that is part of adding value. And so, one of the things is Treks for Vets, but we have several others. We work in partnership with our clubs at ASU, our Student Veterans of America clubs and our chapters. So we spend a lot of time building community. Michelle is really the
social butterfly?
She is, yeah. and she really drives that in our center, and really happy about that.
We even have a dependents club, 42 Collective. And it's actually dependents and veterans who just come together, go hiking, do social outings with each other, volunteering. And so that's that camaraderie piece that they may be missing out, that social aspect. So then they don't feel, well, school class is done, let me just go home. No, you can hang out with like-minded individuals with the same dark humor who can also help you with school. That's what we have found in bridging that gap between the student veteran and the non-veteran student, is that they have a wealth of knowledge. They know how to help you with your computer, right? They just left high school. So
they know
all
how
that
to do
stuff
math.
Is fresh, yes. So make those your friends too, because it can't just be in this bubble where we feel safe. You need to step out of that and meet other people on campus who's going to help you through your journey. So, I mean, I can't help them with math, so.
You can't?
No.
No, I know.
So what other organizations at ASU or in the community at large do you connect the veterans with or work with to help give them that holistic support system?
Well, I'm so glad that you brought Michelle in here. She's actually our director of partnerships, the strategic partnerships. So this is her full-time work that she does.
Okay, this is a laundry list too.
Okay, let's hear them.
So if a student or a veteran who is interested in going to college but isn't really sure if they just need a refresher on courses or whatnot, there is the Veterans Upward Bound, which is federally funded. They reach out in the community for any veterans who, may want to learn how to use a computer, or they want to make sure that they can pass the math placement test to get into ASU. Have the conversations, maybe you should start at the community college. So once they are enrolled at Veterans Upward Bound, they have that for life. They have tutoring services, career opportunity resources. So that's the first piece. And so their office is at ASU, but they really service all of the Valley. So that's one piece. Then our connections in the community is very heavy. Perhaps the one big piece is the industry. Employers want to hire veterans. That's the seller there for them, right? So we start off very early on. We tell the students it's never too early to start thinking about your career. So let's create these pipelines. Whatever that industry you're interested in, let's get you connected with these employers. And so they see these employers who are part of that journey, who can help them with their resume, who can help them with their interviews. And along with that, ASU's Career Services is one of our most powerful partners, because they also help our students with that branding, that professional development. We partner pretty much with everyone at ASU, because at the end of the day, they're students first. So we want to make sure they are aware of all the resources that are available. Oh, what else?
Well, Chambers of Commerce across the Valley, we work with them often.
State representatives.
State reps, yes. You name it, we're in a meeting usually with them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nonprofit organizations.
Yeah.
It's across the board, and it's national too. I've partnered with Syracuse University in helping students to engage with the employers. The seller for us is come meet the students from the best school in the East and the best school in the West. And so we don't shy away from partnerships by no means. No,
it's important to us.
So can you talk a little bit about, I understand that ASU also offers a scholarship for spouses of active duty service members and spouses of honorably discharged veterans. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, well, so this was a statewide scholarship for all of our universities and community colleges. And ABOR actually said, hey, let's take care of our spouses, because they serve with us. And we really appreciated that. So they gave $10 million to the state schools to get spouses of Arizona veterans to come to college. It's their first degree. So let's say they've traveled around the country and the world following their spouse in the military. They were taking care of the kids or working full time to try to support, or they didn't get a chance to get their first degree. So Arizona has got this fantastic scholarship, and you said it, Arizona veteran, a spouse of said veteran, honorably discharged, that DD 214, file a FAFSA, and apply for the scholarship. And really the application for the scholarship, as long as you have the documents, you won't be denied it. So we have about, I think, we've given close to 400,000 since it opened up to 50 some odd spouses that are coming to ASU in particular. So yeah, it's
that's
pretty great.
outstanding.
Yeah, and it pays the tuition and the fees. So you're not having to cover any of that.
I think those become so much more important with how expensive everything is now.
Sure.
College certainly, but life in general.
Right.
So any benefit that's out there is something that certainly our veterans and their eligible family members need to pursue. Can you tell us a success story?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure there are hundreds and thousands of them, but is there one particular success story that maybe sticks with you, Michelle? Or
yes, there would be one who I still continually keep in touch with. I'm just in awe of his journey, and his name is Chris Cadeau. He's currently the Director of Public Relations and Broadcasting for the Kalamazoo Wings. When he first came to ASU, it was when I just started. And so I learned a lot about the struggle of student veterans through his eyes. Seeing him go to AA, seeing him struggle, telling that story how at one point he took a gun to commit suicide. That really, really made me think, okay, this is much bigger than just higher education. This is a life. And so it was just continually being supportive of him, what his dreams were, knowing that he decided to give himself a chance, and to see how he has flourished. And he is such a an impactful leader in our community, and just how he's so readily available to help any veteran. But that is definitely just one of many stories of when you peel that onion and you see the rawness of just this individual in that struggle and willing to just say, okay, I'm going to give myself this chance, but I just need a network of people who are going to support me. And here he is today.
His story is amazing. In fact, I was volunteering as the chaplain at the time that Chris was a student, so this was before I came on full time. And I actually had the opportunity he asked me, he said, would you baptize me? And so his story and how everything is connected in our world, I just think it's pretty special. And Chris, he continues to stay connected to us. We like to say that they're Sun Devil vets for life. And so he's one of our alumni that we're super proud of. But Kelly, if we could say, there are so many we're so proud of. This is just one of those memorable stories. We love all of our students who have been successful, and we see it and we watch them and we celebrate with them after they leave us. And really
his legacy with us is he was a Cronkite student, majored in journalism, and he started the Veteran Diaries radio show on Blaze. And he would just bring in community members to tell that story. Because that's the one thing about veterans, we choose not to tell that story, but there's such power in storytelling. And the more you can storytell, the more people can have that awareness and appreciation of that veteran label that we wear. Right? And so he would bring people in the community, let them talk their story, just have these really candid conversations. And I just think more of those types of veterans who want to give other veterans a platform, just Kelly, like you have given us, really just makes our veteran community stronger and more inspired to do things.
That's really well said. What would you like, or what do you need the community at large to know, the people who view or listen to this program in Arizona, about the ASU Pat Tillman Center? What's a big call to action or a big takeaway for them?
I think part of what most people don't know is that, we are a department within ASU. Funding for our department is minimal. We get one stipend from the VA every year for all the benefits that we process, but we have tons of programs that fall outside of that budget. And we work really hard. If there's businesses and families and companies that say, hey, we'd really like to support the Pat Tillman Veterans Center, get a hold of Michelle. My big ask is this, we tag it onto our mission statement, is together we can enrich the lives of student veterans. Student veterans come to ASU with a beautiful life experience. And so I don't like to say that they come without anything. We like to enrich them. So if you're in the business, or if it's in your heart to enrich the lives of student veterans now that they've separated from the military, I think the Pat Tillman Veterans Center is a home for what you want to do. So you just contact us and we'll get you plugged in, and you can be a part of the student's journey just like us. Yeah.
I would like to share the distinction between the Pat Tillman Veterans Center and the Pat Tillman Foundation. A lot of times people think we work hand in hand, that we work alongside of each other. The Pat Tillman Foundation is a nonprofit that raises funding for their Tillman scholars. As we all know, the Pat's Run is the greatest day in Tempe, with 48,000 people coming to that race. And so we want to make sure that people know that we are a student service entity at ASU, and then the Pat Tillman Foundation is a nonprofit. We are a university partner with them, and the Pat's Run, of course, is at ASU because that's where Pat went. And I do love to make plugs, and so the race is the 20th anniversary of the Tillman Foundation. So really encourage everyone to come out and support the Pat Tillman Foundation. It's a big deal for us, and so just wanted to make sure people know that distinction. And I know I try to do a little funny and say, call me, but he's right. I want to find more scholarship opportunities for our students. I want to be able to help fund their schooling well, so then they don't have to worry about those kind of things, right? And programmings where they can thrive more, perhaps more in that career readiness or professional development or just personal growth, whatever that looks like. The community has so many amazing resources and supports, very innovative. So we want to introduce that to the students also. but at the same time, help us help them get that bump up, right? And make them feel that they still matter, that they do matter.
That they have value.
Yes, that their value is important too. And the thing is, for us who have served, we want to continually serve. So out there, I put the big ask, if there's a way that our students can continue that service, please let me know, because we'd love to partner in whatever capacity that looks like.
I'll finish just by saying this. You've heard a bunch today about what we're doing and why we're doing it. Actually undergirding everything, Michelle and I always say this, and our team says this, 22 veterans a day take their own lives through suicide. If we can do anything at the Pat Tillman Veterans Center, it would be to minimize that, to negate that, to drop that number. So everything that we do, that undergirds all of it. We've lost student veterans to suicide. I served in combat. I lost one soldier to combat, but I've lost 5 buddies to suicide since we've been home. This is a real pandemic, and we're just trying to do everything that we can with the resources we have to change that conversation, to get the ability for veterans to feel like they value themselves, so we can change that narrative.
Yeah, that's our why.
It's our why.
It's our why.
Yeah.
Well, it's really an incredible support system that you all provide, and I think about Pat Tillman and the legacy that he has left here in Arizona, and you all are doing such wonderful work to honor that legacy. So
thank you so much.
Thank you so much for what you do, for supporting our veterans, and for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you,
It's
Kelly.
an honor. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. To find out more about the ASU Pat Tillman Veterans Center, visit veterans.asu.edu. Find past episodes along with news and resources for Arizona veterans at veteransaz.org.